There's a new enemy setting the stage, yet has been around for centuries. He made himself known through many events in the Bible, from King David to Elijah, all the way to the disciples of Christ. He left his mark. He lingers around looking for the perfect situation, setting, event just for you. And he will do everything in his power to control you, harass you, paralyze you. He will do everything in his power to destroy you. So you must hold your ground, stand firm, and don't waver in your faith in God. I guarantee you, you will find yourself face to face with this enemy, this spirit called fear. Fear will make a grand entrance like we've never seen before. Let's prepare.
You are Jesus. You're my strong tower, Jesus. My strength this hour, Jesus. You're my deliverer, yes you are, Jesus.
2 Timothy 1:7. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. I know that there are those of you saying, how can a true child of God be controlled or even destroyed at any given moment by this enemy, this spirit called fear? Let me say this. When this enemy finds the perfect situation in your life, he goes in what they called beast mode. So much so until even God's most chosen have lost battles to this enemy. Let's get into it with Prophet Elijah, one of the greatest stories in the Bible as it pertains to fear. There are many stories, but to keep time down, let's look at this one. This comes from 1 Kings chapters 18 and 19. Let's set the stage. King Ahab of Israel and his evil wife named Jezebel led Israel away from God and to Baal and other gods. This wicked lady was known for killing prophets of God and keeping everyone from worshiping God publicly. Elijah warned King Ahab to repent, but he wouldn't. So there was a drought brought upon the land. After 3 years of this drought, God sent Elijah to confront King Ahab and the people of Israel. After gathering 450 prophets of Baal and others, God only through Elijah challenged these prophets of Baal to one of the most famous showdowns in the Bible. Oh yes, my God showed up and showed out. Let's pick up from here. This is going to be good. Everyone was here except Jezebel, the wife of the king. As the showdown started, Elijah said to the people, if the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, then follow him. Elijah had them bring 2 bulls, and he allowed the prophets of Baal to choose the one they wanted. He told the people that they both will call on their God, and the God that answers by setting fire to the wood is the true God. And all the people agreed. Elijah let the prophets of Baal go first. You go first, he said. So after preparing the altar with no fire, they called on the name of their God, Baal, from the morning to noon, with no reply from Baal. Then they danced, hobbling around, still no reply. At this time, Elijah could no longer contain himself. He began mocking them, telling them to shout louder, making jokes about their God. Maybe he's asleep, maybe daydreaming, or away on a trip or something. So they shouted louder until evening. Still Not a peep out of Baal. No sound, no reply, no response. Now finally, after allowing the prophets of Baal to call their God all day, it was Elijah's turn. Let's see what happens. Elijah prepared the altar with the bull exactly how God wanted it. He even had people soak the offering with water. Elijah prayed to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to prove to the people that he is God in Israel and that he, Elijah, belongs to him. Immediately, the fire of the Lord flashed down from heaven and burned up the young bull, the wood, the stones, and the dust. It even licked up all the water in the trench. The people fell face down on the ground and cried, "The Lord, He is God." Elijah killed all the prophets of Baal, and God allowed the 3-year drought to end. He sent the rain. Now, just a little side note. You know, Prophet Elijah was up against 450 prophets and destroyed them all. This should be great encouragement for all of you that no matter what you're going through, if you have God, but wait a minute now, I'm talking about the one true living God, the creator of all things, Alpha and Omega, the beginning and ending of all things, the great I am, the one who always is, was, and will be, Yahweh, the Most High, that God. If you have that God on your side, no matter who you're up against, no matter who the enemy is, if God is on your side, you will prevail. Now, I know someone is like, "Vivian, what does this have to do with fear?" I'm glad you asked. Let's continue. As soon as King Ahab went back home and told his wife Jezebel what happened, even about the death of all the prophets, Jezebel sent a message straight to Prophet Elijah. She said, "May the gods strike me and even kill me if by this time tomorrow I have not killed you just as you killed them." Now, even after knowing who God is, Elijah became so afraid until he fled for his life. He was so afraid until he prayed to God that he might die. He told God that he had enough and to take his life. Now, Elijah was a prophet of the Most High. I mean, God did some miraculous things through Elijah. But as soon as this enemy called fear found the perfect situation for Elijah, he controlled him, harassed him, and even paralyzed the great prophet Elijah. When he came face to face with this enemy called fear, he went from praying and trusting that God would show up and protect him to praying for God to take his life. So I know that someone is asking, well, if the great prophet Elijah had issues and struggled with this enemy called fear, how do we prepare and overcome this enemy called fear? Glad you asked. Let's find out. So how do we prepare to overcome fear? Number one, nothing will work without you having a personal relationship with God. This means that you must know God by spending quality time with Him. This means getting to know God by spending quality time with Him. When you spend time with Him, do it first thing in the morning before dealing with the world each day. Number two, learn to fear God over fearing others. This is wisdom. Psalm 1:11-10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All those who practice it have a good understanding. His praise endures forever. Matthew 10:28. And do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather, fear him who can destroy both the soul and the body in hell. So, if we are more concerned with fearing God, the creator of all things, then it will be very difficult for fear to control us. Number 3, learn to trust in God. Learn to trust his plan for your life no matter what happens. This comes from spending time with him, reading his word, and remembering all that he has done for you. I know someone is saying, how do we not lose trust in God when Elijah did, and look how close he was to God? Honestly, I do not believe Elijah lost trust in God. He knew who God was, and he knew how powerful he was. I believe that he did not trust God's plan for his life. Now remember, God allowed all these prophets to be killed, murdered by that evil Jezebel. So I believe that Elijah was thinking, well, he allowed Jezebel to kill all them. Now she threatened me. So I believe that Elijah just didn't trust God's plan for his life. Number 4, pray and ask God to help you not to be fearful of the things to come. Number 5, have scriptures handy that you can read to calm yourself. I put several in the description box below. Number 6, understand that death, if you are a child of God, is just a transition over to be with God. So ask God to help you not fear that transition. Number 7, remember all the times you were in trouble and God saved you. All the times you didn't think things were going to work out and God stepped in. My pastor long ago told us to write down all the things that God brought us through as we went through those things, so that we are able to look back on those things, read over those things, and those things will be motivation for us when we are in a difficult situation. So in other words, allow our past to testify for us within the present. Number 8, know that God put fear in his word 365 times. There are 365 days in a year. He's letting us know that there isn't a single day in this year for us to fear. Not one day. Guys, what's coming has fear written all over it. Some people say it's bad now, but I guarantee you haven't seen nothing yet. I mean, there are visions that God has given me and others. It's not good, as well as what he left for us in Revelation. I mean, all of this will bring Luke 21:26 to life. It says, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. In conclusion, this was not meant to scare you, but encourage you to prepare right now. Please use these tools that God gave me to share with you. We must get ourselves in a position to where we can truly say, God, I trust you. I trust your plan for my life. We have to get ourselves into a position where we can truly say, no matter what happens to me, God, I trust you. We have to understand who we serve. We don't serve a weak God. We serve an all-powerful God. We don't serve an unavailable God. Oh, no. We serve a God who is available everywhere at all times. We serve an all-powerful, all-knowing, always present God. Until next time, you be blessed.